Paul Gonzalez and his crew didn't hold back about their lust for the Cuda's power, but long before this baby will ever light it up at the lights, some real heavy work needs to get done.
The design of the Goodmark Cuda is a done deal. That means it's time to move on to the fun stuff. Strip day.
When Dan Woods walked in, we were just pushing the car in, and we brought the car in, got the group together, and got busy tearing the car apart.
We worked with the front valance, and we slowly worked back to the dashboard, then to the wiring, removal of the wiring, removal of the dash.
A large team can make quick work of dismantling any car. The concern will be accurately tagging everything that comes off.
The hood's in pretty good shape, but we won't be able to find out the true condition until it gets back from immediate blast.
Anything that can and will come off is removed. Even parts within parts will be dissected for repair, replacement, or perhaps never to be seen again. Door handles usually fall into the latter category.
So we also proceeded to get the doors off and the deck lid, of course stripping the whole body down.
It's not just trim parts being removed, serious structural stuff is getting the same treatment too.
The dash itself is in decent condition and restorable. However, we're going to be making some subtle changes to it and also changing the instrument cluster out to something more contemporary.
Got it.
Some of the parts are a little bit dilapidated. The rust has gotten in there. It's eaten away. A lot of the body parts are going to have to be replaced. And just mostly getting the cancer out of there is going to be the main goal. Just making sure that it's suitable for paint. There's a lot of rust and cancer on there, and I think it's been worked on before, so we're going to have to just remove that stuff and start fresh.
This is the first time we've had a chance to pull the car apart and have a good look at it. When we bought it, it was just a brief overview, an impulse buy. I knew it was a decent car to start with, but with a little bit of time and energy, I think we found out more.
The car went onto the lift, up in the air. Out came the rear suspension, and the front K-member, the whole front suspension was out of the car, basically leaving the car down to a strip shell.
We had a little trouble with the front suspension. The taper on the ball joints and the spindles are usually hard to get out. Hammer-proof futile, so we tried wailing on a little bit, and that didn't work. So once you can't get there with air, you break out with a heavy tool and you use a torch, put some heat to the spindles, and get the metal to expand, and then they'll come apart.
It will come apart, but it's not going to fall apart. Some skillful swings are still needed to persuade this rusted relic to give up its grasp on some components. The rear suspension didn't put up as much fuss as the front did. Maybe it doesn't know it'll never be back to hold up this classic ride.
We're going to be keeping the shell itself as a whole. The floors actually look very solid. After we got a good close look at the floors, we decided we're going to keep the floors and use that time and energy on other spots on the car. We're going to put quarters on it. We're going to put different doors on it, front fenders, different hood, and we're going to modify the front and back valance. The frame itself, the rockers, and all the underneath structural parts on the car are really good, with the exception of the trunk. But that's not a structural part per se. But the car overall is in really good condition, a lot better than we anticipated.
If you think this thing is stripped clean now, wait till you see what it looks like when it comes back from the media blaster.